Level 1. The Civilian. You are 19 years old in a small town in Ohio. You work at your father's hardware store 6 days a week. You know every regular customer by name. You know which floorboard creaks near the back. You know the smell of the place, wood shavings and motor oil, and the particular dusty warmth of a room full of things that fix other things. The draft letter arrives on a Tuesday morning. Your mother carries it in from the mailbox and sets it on the kitchen table and stands there with her hand still on it for a moment before she steps back. You open it. You read it twice. Then you fold it back the way it came and put it back in the envelope very carefully and set it down. Neither of you says anything for a long time. You've seen the newsreels. You know what's happening in Europe and in the Pacific. You've known this letter was coming the way you know winter is coming. Abstractly, distantly, and then suddenly it's here. And the knowing in advance did nothing to prepare you for the weight of the actual thing. You work the rest of the day in the store. You help Mr. Callahan find the right gauge wire for his fence. You sweep the back. You lock up at 6. You eat dinner with your parents, and your father talks about the weather, and your mother passes the bread, and nobody says the word that is sitting in the middle of the table taking up all the space. You ship out in 3 weeks. You have never been further from Ohio than Cincinnati. Level 2, the recruit Fort Benning, Georgia. They wake you at 4 in the morning on the first day, and they don't stop until 8 weeks later, when you are something different from what you were when you stepped off the bus. The sergeant who runs your company is from Alabama and has a voice like gravel in a tin can and a complete absence of interest in your comfort or your feelings or the fact that you have never done any of this before. He is not cruel exactly. He is just entirely focused on converting you from a civilian into something that can survive what's coming, and he has 8 weeks to do it, and he treats every minute accordingly. You run until your legs stop working, and then you run more. You learn to field, strip a rifle in the dark, by feel until it takes you less than a minute. You learn to read a map, to dig a foxhole to regulation depth, to move through terrain without silhouetting yourself against the sky. You learn first aid that is nothing like the first aid you learned in school. This is triage, prioritization, the arithmetic of limited supplies and multiple casualties. You also learn something nobody teaches directly. You learn the specific texture of fear, not the sharp fear of sudden danger, but the low, constant fear of knowing something bad is coming and not knowing when. You learn to function inside that fear, to eat and sleep and follow orders, with it running underneath everything like a cold current. That skill will matter more than any of the others. 8 weeks later, you are not a soldier. You are the raw material of one. The difference will be made overseas, and it will be made fast. Level 3, the Private England First. 2 weeks in a camp outside Southampton that smells like rain and diesel, and the particular anxiety of 30,000 men waiting for something nobody will confirm the timing of. Then a transport ship across the channel in the dark, and then Normandy. You are in the 3rd wave. You know what happened to the first 2 waves, because you can see it from the landing craft before the ramp drops. The beach is not a beach anymore. It is a fact about what war actually is, that no newsreel prepared you for, and that you will spend the rest of your life trying to find language for and failing. The ramp drops. You run. You don't think. Thinking is finished for now. There is only forward, and the sand, and the noise, which is so total, it stops being noise and becomes something you move through like weather. You make the seawall. You are alive. The man who was next to you on the transport ship is not. You don't have time to process this. You won't have time for weeks. The processing comes later, in the dark, in whatever hole you're sleeping in, and it comes whether you want it to or not. You are in France now. The war is no longer a newsreel or a letter on a kitchen table. It is the ground under your boots, and the weight of your rifle, and the names of the men around you, and the distance to the next piece of cover. That is the entire world now. That is all there is. Level 4. The soldier 2 months in France. You have moved through 3 towns whose names you can't pronounce, and one whose name you will never forget, for reasons you don't talk about. You've lost 4 men from your squad. Davis took a round in a hedgerow outside St. Lo on a Wednesday morning. Kowalski stepped on a mine 2 days later. Morrison and Chen in the same hour during a push on a farmhouse that Command said would be lightly defended. Command was wrong. Command is frequently wrong in ways that cost specific men their specific lives, and the gap between the map and the ground is where most of the dying happens. You've stopped learning the names of replacements until they've been with you for at least a week. The new men arrive with that look you recognize, the Fort Benning look, the not yet look, and you watch them and you wait, and after a week, you learn their names. This is not cruelty. This is the arithmetic of attachment in a place where attachment has a cost, and the cost is not evenly distributed. You are good at this now. That is a strange thing to be good at, and you don't examine it too closely. You move well. You read ground well. Your instincts have been recalibrated by 2 months of constant feedback from an environment that kills you if you're wrong. You are alive because you have been right more often than wrong, and you understand that luck is part of that equation, and you don't think about the luck part too long. Home is a word that has started to sound like it belongs to a different language. Level 5. The Sergeant Hale takes a round outside Aachen on a gray Tuesday afternoon. He is there, and then he is not. And the squad keeps moving because stopping is not an option. And grief is not a thing you have the space for right now. Command gives you his stripes 2 hours later. No ceremony. A lieutenant hands them to you in a bombed-out farmhouse and tells you your squad is yours now, and moves on to the next thing on his list. You hold the stripes for a moment, and then you put them on, and that's the entirety of the transition. You now make the decisions. Which direction your men walk into danger, who takes point, who covers the left flank, when to push and when to wait. These decisions happen fast, and in bad light, and with incomplete information, and the consequences are final, and you make them anyway, because someone has to. And it is you now. The weight of it is not what you expected. It's not dramatic. It is just constant. It is there when you wake up, and there when you're moving, and there in the 2 hours of sleep you get when you get sleep at all. 7 men. 7 sets of parents who wrote letters to their sons and are waiting for letters back. 7 futures that run through your decisions every time you make one. You don't write home as much as you used to. There is less you can say honestly, and you've lost the appetite for the other kind. Level 6. The veteran 14 months. France, Belgium, into Germany itself. 3 pairs of boots. More names than you let yourself count. You don't flinch at artillery anymore. This happened gradually and then completely. One day, you noticed you'd stopped ducking at sounds that used to stop your heart, and you couldn't remember exactly when it changed. Your body made that adjustment without asking you. Your body has made a lot of adjustments without asking you. You sleep through sounds that would have ended you in Ohio. You eat whatever there is without tasting it. You can assess a piece of ground in 30 seconds. Cover, fields of fire, approach routes, where the danger is most likely to come from. This is not skill anymore. It is just how you see the world now. You don't know if that will ever go back. Your men trust you completely. They follow your calls without hesitation, and they come back more often than they don't. And that record is what trust is built on out here. Not words, not rank, not speeches. just the math of how many times you've been right when it mattered. You're not sure you deserve it. You've been lucky in ways that have nothing to do with skill, and you know this, and you carry the knowledge of it quietly, because the men don't need to hear that their sergeant thinks luck is part of the equation. They need to believe the man making the calls knows what he's doing. You give them that. You give them that every day, regardless of what you think privately in the dark. Level 7. The Ranger. A major pulls you from the line outside Cologne and drives you to a building you've never been to and introduces you to 4 men you've never seen before. They are quiet in the specific way that men are quiet when they have done things that don't get discussed in normal company. The major explains the unit. Small team, high-value targets, operations that don't appear in reports. You'll be detached from your squad, effective immediately. You don't ask about your men. You already know the answer is that someone else will take your stripes, and your squad will continue, and the war doesn't pause for personnel transitions. The work is different. Slower in some ways, and faster in others. You spend 3 days watching a target before you move. You learn to be patient in a way that frontline combat doesn't require. Frontline combat is reaction. This is intention, and the difference is significant. You move at night through terrain that command hasn't fully mapped. You solve problems that conventional units can't touch. Nobody back home will ever know what you did in those forests outside the Rhine. The operations don't have names that will appear in history books. The men you worked with don't talk about it at reunions, because there are no reunions, because the unit officially didn't exist. You will spend the rest of your life grateful for that. The things that get remembered are not always the things that should be remembered, and sometimes the mercy of being forgotten is the only mercy available. Level 8. The Fall Berlin, April 1945. The war is 2 weeks from over, and everyone knows it. And the dying continues anyway, because wars don't stop when the outcome is clear. They stop when the paperwork catches up. The mission comes down from someone 2 levels above the major. A building in the eastern sector. Intelligence says it's clear. Intelligence is wrong. Intelligence has been wrong before, and men have died for it before. And it happens again in a basement in Berlin with 4 of your unit. And afterward, you are the only one who walks out. And you walk out because of a door that opened the wrong way, and a second of confusion that went your direction instead of theirs, and nothing else. Nothing skillful. Nothing earned. You file the report. You give the names. You fly home in May with the rest of the men who are going home, and the Atlantic is gray and flat, and you stand at the rail for a long time watching the water and thinking about the door. You carry their names the way you carry the others: Davis, Kowalski, Morrison, Chen, and now 4 more, in a place that doesn't have an external location. You don't talk about them. Talking doesn't help, and silence doesn't help, and nothing helps exactly, but silence at least doesn't make it worse. Ohio is exactly as you left it. That is somehow the strangest thing of all. Level 9. The Successor. The hardware store is still there. The floorboard near the back still creaks. Your father looks older, and your mother holds on too long when she hugs you at the door, and the kitchen smells exactly like it always smelled. And you sit at the table where the draft letter sat, and you drink coffee, and you try to locate yourself in the room. It takes time. More time than anyone tells you it will take. You go through the motions of being home. The store, the dinners, the neighbors stopping by. And underneath all of it, something is running that doesn't have a name in civilian language. You are not broken. You are just calibrated for a world that no longer exists around you. And the recalibration is slow, and nobody who wasn't there fully understands what needs recalibrating. A boy down the street is 17 years old. You see him watching you from across the road one afternoon when you were in your uniform for the last time before you put it away. His eyes go wide in the specific way that eyes go wide when someone sees something they've only seen in newsreels suddenly standing in front of them on an ordinary street. You recognize that look. You wore it yourself once. You wore it looking at the men who came back from the last war, the one your father's generation fought, and thinking about what they knew that you didn't, and wanting to know it, and having no idea what knowing it actually cost. You don't wave, you don't smile, you just look at him for a moment, and then you go inside, and you put the uniform in the back of the closet, and you close the door. Some things you can't give anyone. Some knowledge only transfers one way, through the living of it, through the losing of it, through the particular education of being 19 years old and having the world show you exactly what it is capable of. He'll find out or he won't. The world will ask, or it won't. Either way, there's nothing you can do about it from here. You go back to the store. The floorboard creaks. A customer needs wire for a fence. You help him find it. You sweep the back. You lock up at 6. Some days that is enough. Most days it has to be.